Welcome back, everybody. We are back in the Transfer Portal podcast presented by No Context Football. I got my boys Brian and Andrew. I am Adam. Fellas, big week, exciting week. We got National Signing Day today, movement in the Transfer Portal. Jim Harbaugh finally made a decision. I don't know what he's been doing, but how y'all doing today?
I'm doing good. We're still national champs, so I'm doing fantastic.
I'm cool. I think that's the best way to put it right now. National Signing Day was here. That's kind of the most noteworthy thing. Little bittersweet taste of the whole Caleb Williams news, but we'll definitely touch on that in a bit.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into that. Caleb Williams announced that he is going to USC, which many people thought he was going to do a month ago, but he kind of stalled that out. Lord knows why. Was a little bit of thinking that he might go to Wisconsin. Andrew, did you get your hopes up for a little bit there?
You know, it's gotten to the point where it's like I just knew I was going to get my hopes up, and I just expected it. Here's the number one rule of being a Wisconsin fan. It don't matter if you're a fan of the Packers. It don't matter if you're a fan of the Brewers or the Wisconsin Badgers. Milwaukee Bucks fans finally got their sweet taste last year, obviously. But I'd say in 95% of the times where the good gets going in terms of being a Wisconsin fan of just any team within that state, if it seems too good to be true, it always is. It's just the matter of it. I mean, Packers were the best team in the NFL regular season this year. And yeah, I don't even want to touch on that. Aaron Rodgers is anti-vax, and people are talking more about him for that. Not saying that it's unwarranted, but to talk more about that than his actual MVP season, the fact that it's one of the most efficient seasons have been now. Half the state wants him gone. And well, okay, now we're getting off topic here. But in terms of Caleb Williams, his father was I gotta look at the graph here. There's this weird trend going on among Wisconsin fans on Twitter called UW Anon, basically trying to connect all the dots possible as to how Caleb Williams has connections to Wisconsin. So this is what it is. One of Caleb Williams' old teammates from high school is Dean Engram. He's been a cornerback now for 3 years. He's played the most snaps among any secondary player for Wisconsin going into next season. They just moved him to wide receiver. So how coincidentally that somebody who caught passes from Caleb Williams in high school is all of a sudden getting moved to wide receiver? I feel like that was just a Hail Mary move. I'm pretty sure Caleb Williams already made his decision up to this point. And Dean Engram's father was actually a wide receivers coach for Paul Chryst when he was the head coach at Pitt. This is obviously going way out of hand. But however, this is where the fun part does come in. Caleb Williams and his father are actually really good friends with Russell Wilson. And who did Russell Wilson play under? Paul Chryst at Wisconsin when Paul Chryst was a offensive coordinator in 2011. So you've already got a former teammate from high school at Wisconsin. Your teammate's father has been a receivers coach for Paul Chryst for a really long time, or a long time ago. Caleb Williams and his father are friends with Russell Wilson, who played under Chryst. It honestly just seemed to be dream scenario. I mean, that is honestly stretching it so far to the point. I mean, stretching it more than a wrestling ring rope. I mean, that's just Wisconsin fans just trying to get their hopes up. And let's just go ahead and let's just be honest. I mean, are you going to go play for the coach that recruited you out of high school, or are you going to go ahead and take a shot at a school that's, let's just be honest, it's way out of the way for everybody else? You're going to be playing in that 20 to 30 degree weather during that November period. It's obvious he wanted to go play for Lincoln. I'm sure he liked Madison as a campus. I'm sure he liked Paul Chryst. I'm sure he knew Paul Chryst better than most people would have thought. It's not surprising. And I think I'm used to it. You know, when Graham Mertz was the number 2 quarterback in his class and we're seeing this out of him over the last 2 seasons, it's truthfully, like I said, too good to be true. And let's go ahead. Let's just be honest with what it came down to. It came down to NIL. I'm sorry. I love my state. I love the town of Madison. I really do. It's one of my favorite places to ever be. It's not the town you want to go to for NIL. All right. You've got USC over there. USC is one of the biggest movie universities among film productions in the country. He's going to have windows and windows and windows of opportunity over there. As much as I love my city, I don't know what he's doing for an NIL deal over there. Are you going to go out there and be a spokesman for a Brock company or the Miller Lite Brewery? Or,
what's the name of that Wisconsin beer?
Spotted Cow.
Spotted Cow, yeah.
He would definitely get in some really good money for them. I mean, that's for sure. But in all seriousness, like the fit would have been really weird. It's not it would not have been an offense where I feel like he'd be comfortable with. I think he wants to spread the ball a little bit, even though that was not his strong point last year. He was obviously better known as a runner, as a dual threat guy. And I do think he wants to pass the ball more. And right now with Braylon Allen, with the season that he had last year, at 17 years old, already being named All Big Ten, he's going to get the load even more this upcoming season. And right now, Wisconsin, they're losing their top 3 wide receivers, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's just their top 2, but their leading receiver going in next season, I would not be surprised if he only had like 200 yards receiving from all last year. So he's obviously going to be working with a really young receiving core. He's not going to be the number one guy on that offense as much as we'd love to believe, that he would be. It's not true. The one thing that I think where he may have made that mistake in terms of choosing USC over Wisconsin is I feel like there is more security in the team in terms of Wisconsin had the number 1 defense last year in the country in terms of stats of rushing, total rushing, total yards. They were among top 10 in passing. So you knew he was going to get a better defense in terms of what he had in Oklahoma. But I'm just saying, let's be honest, USC was clear cut. He's going to the coach he's recruited by. He's going to be in the offense that he already knows. It was pure speculation. I should have learned my lesson. I should have known this lesson many times, but it's true. And quite frankly, I mean, it hurts to say it, but he made the right choice. It was the right choice for him. It's in terms of the NIL, in terms of familiarity with the offense, in terms of familiarity with personnel, and the fact that USC has absolutely killed the transfer portal, even though Lincoln Riley said some pretty stupid things earlier today in regards to that, and the fact that their recruiting classes have been absolutely bolstered. Yeah, he made the right choice. And, fair, go for it for him. It's going to be a pretty wide open Pac-12 next year. And, yeah, he made the right choice. I can't blame him.
Yeah, I agree. I never really thought he was going to Wisconsin, but I'm happy that he's at USC because I think he's gonna be expected to win there, and he kind of bet on himself. If USC plays bad, he's gonna be blamed for it because he's the quarterback. But if they play well, he's gonna keep all the praise. So I hope he does well. I'm happy to get him out of the Big 12. I was not looking forward to my Longhorns playing against him for 2 more years. So happy for that. But I was talking with some buddies. Do y'all think that makes USC the favorite in the Pac-12?
I think it does.
So
Maybe I think that. So for USC, obviously they got a lot of big people back. They got a lot of transfers in. Mario Williams as well from Oklahoma, so they're going to have that connection. And obviously, I think it's not really sort of a rebuild because you kind of have the same system in place. So it's basically going to be the same Lincoln Riley offense. The quarterback knows the offense. The receiver knows that offense. So I think they're going to get off their feet quick. I don't really see anybody else in the Pac-12 that could really, maybe Utah. I know Oregon, they're kind of dealing with their transition period with Dan Lanning, and I as a Georgia guy, I love Dan Lanning. I think he's going to do very well, but he's never been a head coach before. He's never had to have a whole team around him. He has never had to, command a whole team. Lincoln Riley has done that very successfully. So I do think that USC is the favorite in the Pac-12. I just obviously we won't know until we have to see what the product in the field looks like. But I think they're in good position to be very in contention at least, or be the favorite in the Pac-12 for sure. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but I don't know if they're good enough to make a playoff spot. But I think they could, win enough games to win the Pac-12.
Yeah, I was trying to decide between them and Utah. Like you said, I think that it's a lot of new pieces, and they all have to mesh well together. And I feel like Utah's still bringing back a lot of key pieces from last year. I thought they were a really good team last year. Played Ohio State marvelously. I love that whole Utah team and what they're doing. So I see a lot of people already like giving USC the Pac-12 title, and I don't think that Utah's that far off for them. I don't know.
So I think we do need to focus on a couple of things here, because I'm looking at the current recruiting rankings among teams right now. In terms of for the 2022, USC is actually currently 10th in the Pac-12 in terms of recruiting. But if you
10th in the Pac-12,
10th in the Pac-12. But this is 2022. Remember, these 2022 guys, they haven't been recruited by Lincoln. They're not, they do have a 5-star. It's just a matter of amount of recruits. They only have 8 commits for the 2022 class as of right now. That's why they're so far behind. But if you go into the 2023, I'm going off 24/7, by the way. If you go to 2023, they're 5th in the country. So now you know that we're going to have these upcoming seniors in high school, that these are the guys going to be buying into Lincoln Riley. This is the team that's going to be, Caleb is still going to have at least 2 years, at USC. He's got this year minimum, and then he's got the next year. So we'll see how these players they build into Caleb Williams on terms of they have, faith in how he's going to build them. And, USC, this is just high school recruits. Let's not, I think USC is like among top 2 or 3 in the country right now in terms of the transfer portal rankings, in terms of who they brought in. They were top 5 even before the Caleb Williams signing, as far as I knew. So this is where I'm going to the season, where if I was a number cruncher in terms of creating odds in Vegas, I'd probably give USC a plus 250 chance to win the Pac-12. Now it's kind of what you're saying about like, okay, how do the pieces mesh well together? I'm still taking Utah to win the Pac-12 next year right now, only because Whittingham is among the best coaches in the game. It's, there's no reason why Utah of all teams should be winning the way that they have been. They've absolutely decimated Oregon twice this past season. They're going to be bringing back a lot of guys. We should really feel good about Utah, and Utah and USC are in the same. They're in the same division in the Pac-12 South. So I do think it will be one of those 2 teams to emerge from that division next season. I think it'll be Utah, just because they do have a little bit more stability. They can have more familiar faces, And look, Lincoln Riley is a great coach, even though I love to rub it in people's faces that he's never won a playoff game. But I'm still going to give the slight edge to Utah to win the Pac-12. But it's going to be a bit similar thing what I said about Texas A&M, though. 2022, don't expect too much, but I think come 2023 to your 2025, I think this is where you can start asking yourself the question of like, okay, is USC back? Is this the USC that could potentially make the playoff? Because among the big blue blood programs that have yet to make the playoff, they're among the most scrutinized teams to not get it. And we really feel like that they should have. I mean, they've won a Rose Bowl since the playoff era started.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think college football is better when USC is elite. I mean, they're a huge draw. Obviously, it's Hollywood. I think I always say that USC, Miami, and Texas, when they're at their top level that they can be, college football is it's just more fun to watch. Because you just everybody. It's kind of like the Cowboys. Everybody wants to see them lose, and when they do, it's a good time.
It's funny though, because like Andrew talked about it. USC is 65th ranked in recruits for the 2022 cycle. If you were to include transfers into that class, the 2022 class, they jump up to 10th. So yeah, they definitely put a lot of chips on the transfer portal and which to Andrew's point, it doesn't make sense to what Lincoln Riley said earlier with that the transfer portal is bad for football or whatever the case, or he said that it needs to change. I mean, he's probably been benefited the most, at least this cycle, when it comes to the transfer portal. But yeah, so they'll be really good. My last point, yeah, they'll be really good. I think Utah, they have more of a they have more experience together. They're kind of more of a complete team based off what they've done the last couple of years. And USC is more of a rebuild. But like I said, I think it'll be a quick rebuild, and they'll definitely compete this year for sure.
I think USC is not a program that rebuilds. They're not a program that you have to build up. They're a program where you need to sell the name and you need to sell basically I really hate to it's really cliche because we see it a lot with like Miami, and I know you're not going to like this with Texas, but honestly it's one of those programs where you have to sell it based on its history rather than over the next couple of years. Now it's that changes for Texas now with them going to the SEC, but in terms of USC, is a program that you would hope that you could just build up with a decent recruiting class to just start, and with the luxury of the transfer portal should open up more doors for them and landing a star-studded hire. Let's be honest. If you were to legitimately name who was the last great head coach for USC, it's not Sark. It's not Sarkisian. It's not
probably Pete Carroll.
I mean, look, and Lane Kiffin's also a weird situation. I felt like when Lane Kiffin got let go from USC, this was a little bit after the sanctions, and remember back in 2011 when they got hit with the bowl ban, and then in 2012 they got all that hype. But I think USC is one of those programs where it really should be a quick fix. It's Hollywood. You got to sell people to move to LA, and I do think that they're on that right track. I think 2022. It does irk me a little bit to see people make jokes about Texas and some of these other programs that are rebuilding and they get clowned for going 7-5, 6-6, or whatever the case may be. I think USC is going to go into an 8-4 season this upcoming season, and they're going to get clowned for it because you got Caleb Williams and you got Lincoln Riley. But I think come that 2023 season, I would expect them to see 11-1, maybe 10-2, and a potential, New Year's 6 bid at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I can definitely see that. It also wouldn't surprise me if they do hit the ground running because they do have, Caleb Williams has played, Mario Williams. He wasn't the standout at Oklahoma, but he still has,
But he's probably going to be the most talented receiver in that room once he gets there, though.
Yeah,
especially with Drake London going into the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's true. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited to see them play. I agree with you though. I think Utah is still a favorite in my eyes, though.
Now let's talk about something else here that I think we're just about to go into. What kind of sick game was Jim Harbaugh trying to play here? Why? I just want to
I think he was chasing the bag.
Who said "Oh my God" in the background? That's what I want to know.
Oh, sorry. My roommate's playing 2K.
Oh, of course.
My bad.
That's great. That's great out of context content right there. But
that was perfectly timed too.
That was awesome. But in all seriousness, but this is either I know Harbaugh's probably chasing the bag.
I mean, he has to be, right? I feel like he was trying to show Michigan, I got options.
But here's the thing: he's got options, but he's also decided to probably screw over his recruiting class. I mean, that's above how many recruits do you have that were thinking about going to Michigan on National Signing Day? They see he's going to the NFL, possibly going to the NFL, and then all of a sudden you get hit with the uncertainty of crap. Guess what? The guy who's recruiting me is not going to stay there. Now he's probably looking at a second option. I mean, all power to him at this point. But it's if he did this a couple weeks ago, I think it would make sense. But now, like, this is the worst timing I think I've ever seen.
Do we know how far Michigan fell? I didn't see where they were before, like all this happened.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
But
Yeah, I think at this point now, you kind of you know, it was either leave, like if you're gonna spend the national signing day at an interview for an NFL team, like you should have just left. Like at that point, you dug your own grave there to try to dig out of it. But I mean, and it also didn't make sense to me because you've been building this program for years and you haven't been able to get over the hump.
Brian, I hate to do this, but your mic is absolutely killing right now.
Damn it. Hold on.
Okay, Adam, this is just you and me until he figures this thing out.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what he was saying though. Like Michigan they were doing great in the recruiting and stuff, and then all this stuff happens, and I don't know how far they fell, but it had to hurt. Like they're recruiting.
They I just looked it up. They only fell down to 9th.
They only fell on 9th, so I mean, I
Okay,
guess
so one end of the world, and I think they were around
Yeah.
that 7th or 6th spot before. So, okay, fair play. Probably didn't hurt them too much, but I just love how we just got two completely out of context ones right here. First, we got your roommate playing 2K, and now we got Brian trying to fix his mic over here. This is honest. Maybe come like listening to it, this probably don't make much sense, but we're gonna have so many great YouTube moments right here. That's just obvious.
unscripted.
That's but no, that's worse. Fix it again.
I thought he was going to the Raiders though.
I thought he was. Well, I mean, part of me thought he was going to go to the Dolphins, but let's be honest. If you've kept up with anything, I don't think anybody wants to go to the Dolphins now.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, you owner Stephen M. Ross, you Michigan alum over there too.
Yeah. Dolphins thing I never really bought, but I remember we were talking about it. Was it like 3 weeks ago? And I was 100%. He was going to the Raiders.
You know what? Now that we said it, because guess what? I was here for that too. Remember, we were discussing like, okay, where the hell is Jim Harbaugh going? I said it right then and there. I'm gonna clip it as soon as we get done here. Brian, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but something is absolutely squirting over there. I couldn't use a better word, but anyways, but I was there. Remember that I said that Jim Harbaugh was coming back.
You did.
So did I not say that?
I didn't believe it. I'll give you this one. You got it. You got that one. But I mean the way he went about it is I mean it's Jim Harbaugh, so it's expected. But
Ryan, how's that mic coming?
I don't know. How does it sound?
We're back. Just like Texas.
Now I can't hear y'all. What the hell is going on?
Oh no. Oh great. All right, Brian. Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear y'all now.
Oh crap.
I give up.
I'll go. I guess me and I will just continue on here, and you can imply all your thoughts in a very nice and respectful manner as soon as you get this fixed. But anyways,
is this still bad?
No, you sound great. Can you hear us now though?
I can hear you. Do y'all hear me?
Yes. We told you.
But how long? So, but the thing is, how long is this gonna last? Because it lasts and then it goes away.
I don't know. We're getting great content out of this though.
Yeah, this is live. This is what happens when you're live.
Just like Jim Harbaugh, we're going back and forth. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Let me get my point across before I lose this thing again. Like I was saying, you built this great program, and you finally get some success. You beat Ohio State for the first time. You win the Big Ten for the first time. You make the playoffs, and then that's when the decision you make to leave. Like it just didn't make sense to me. Sure, they did get their ass kicked by Georgia, which Georgia beat the crap out of everybody this past year, so it's not really a fault of theirs. I don't know if that showed how big the gap was between a championship caliber team and Michigan, but we can go down the line of the college football playoff. How many teams have been pretty much blown out in the semifinal? but I think that you can build from that and build a really strong team and compete in the college football playoff moving forward. So it just didn't make sense for him to leave. And then the timing of it all is just a messy. So it's I like that he chose to stay, and it sounds, according to the reports, that he's committed to Michigan and he's not going to be interviewing every year, which we'll see how. One thing we know about coaches is that they're liars. So I don't expect that to be the truth at all. I think he'll be in the NFL before, I think I would bet tomorrow that he'll by 2025 he'll be in the NFL. So anyway, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But he's going to stay at Michigan, and hopefully he can continue building on that program, because I think that kind of with similar USC, the college football is better when Michigan is good, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them.
See, that's a little bit different though. I think the difference between like Michigan being better and like USC and Texas, whenever we have this discussion, yes, I agree that it's better when Texas and USC are better. I will say this, but in terms of Michigan's perspective, I think this might sound a little ironic. I think for college football is better when there's actually parity between Ohio State and Michigan. This makes sense. I actually believe that it's more important that those two actually fight back to back, because we talk about rivalries that are just so one-sided that they just don't seem special anymore. There were times whenever we woke up to Michigan and Ohio State and we just thought of it as, well, this is Michigan's annual ass whooping. I mean, that's kind of just the way we viewed it for a really long time. In terms of Michigan and Michigan and Ohio State, they're both college football blue bloods as far as I'm concerned. I just think it's better whenever those two are fighting each other consistently in and out every season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you'll see that if he stays. If he leaves, which I agree with Brian, I don't see him staying for that long. You don't have your best season at Michigan and then go through all this if you're not thinking about leaving soon, in my opinion. But we'll see. It's Michigan though, and Ohio State's they're going to be good next year. So,
all right, so let's go into this National Signing Day.
Yes,
I know you're feeling good about it, of all people.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Texas is locked up in the top 5 spot.
Texas, we dig in top 5. It's not necessarily being in the top 5. It's the personnel we're getting. I love what they're doing. Two major problems for Texas last year was quarterback, offensive line. Got the quarterback, and we fixed the offensive line through this recruiting class. We got a lot of bullies in there. I'm ready. They're young though, and our offensive line last year was young, and that didn't really work out. But we got a lot of competition. I'm excited. I'm still a little bit salty how good Texas A&M did, just because I just don't like them. But
of course you don't. I mean, it's
I can't complain how we're doing.
How does it make you feel that Texas finally does something elite and Texas A&M still does it better?
I'm like I said, I'm a little salty, but if we have a better record than them, then it doesn't matter. So I just need us to have a better record than Texas A&M. That's it.
Is that guaranteed though?
No.
I'm just trying to piss you off at this point, to be honest with you.
You can't make me mad because Texas is back. I don't care what y'all say. Texas is back.
That guy that we spoke to earlier, he disagreed.
We don't talk about him. We don't talk about our haters.
It's kind of one thing that I do find kind of weird is Harold Perkins. He was a top 10 recruit in the country. Committed to Texas A&M only a matter of weeks ago. Now, Lauren, who is obviously the Texas A&M gal of our group, says that he never molded well with the other A&M commits. He never fit in with what they wanted to do. So he decommits and goes to LSU. By the way, I don't care what anybody says. If I was a 5-star recruit and Brian Kelly wants to be in my hype video, I am. I'll legit go to Texas or Texas A&M or Alabama just to spite him.
Well, he went to Alabama. You saw
Yeah,
that, right?
The tight end went to Alabama. I will say this: even though Brian Kelly landed a top 10 recruit and arguably the best linebacker in the country in Harold Perkins, there just has to be that little bit of embarrassment that he did that for the cameras, and the players still ditched him.
Yeah, I agree. I think getting Perkins really saved LSU's recruiting class because they lost 2 of their guys. Who was it? Matthews went to A&M.
Yep.
And I don't know how.
There was that Le'Veon something. He was the running back. He was the running back in Baton Rouge, and ended up deciding to go to A&M.
Yeah, they lost 2 of their guys, and then they pulled one from Texas. So kind of saved their recruiting class, in my opinion. And then that whole Brian Kelly dancing thing, and he goes to Alabama. I mean, the memes just write themselves at that point.
No, they really do. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, it's. I just want to know how the hell does Brian Kelly do what he do? Le'Veon Moss, that was the guy's name, by the way.
Yeah.
But how the hell does LSU just must be paying him so much money where he doesn't even have to care about shame anymore. That's just an Elon Musk mentality at this point.
I think he's just trying to fit in, and he's not being himself, and it shows. It's very cringy.
Yeah. I mean, look. Shout out LSU. Like they've still dominated the portal. I think they have a top 3 class in terms of just the portal. They still have a top 15 class in the country. I think they're number 12 right now. So they're still getting guys. They're still getting. LSU is still LSU no matter who the coach is over there. LSU has tremendous football facilities over there. Baton Rouge is a great town, even though it sucked when me and Brian had to drive through it multiple times. But it's great
if you go to an LSU game. I've been to one.
Yeah, I guarantee it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Purple and gold is one of the best. It's one of the most polarizing views that you get whenever you go through Baton Rouge and you cross the Mississippi. Look, LSU is a great program, and I'm not saying that Brian Kelly's going to run it to the ground. I don't think it's that at all. I just don't think it's going to be, the powerhouse that Saban had for a while, or the 10-2 stability that Les Miles had for a real long time, or national championship glory that Coach O of all people was able to lead to. They're probably never going to have a Joe Burrow the way that he dominated the game back then. Shout out Joe Burrow, future Super Bowl MVP, by the way. LSU is just in a, we spoke about it a couple weeks ago. LSU is just in a really weird spot where it just seems so, drowned in mystery, where we legitimately don't know how good LSU is going to be within 2 years. They're either going to be stuck in purgatory at 7-5, 8-4, maybe as low as 6-6, or they could easily just be college playoff talk. I legitimately don't know where they're going to go from here.
Yeah, I agree. But hopefully Brian's mic is working, because I know Georgia they had Kirby Smart's hit. I saw that it was the second best recruiting class of all time or something like that.
Yeah, it was really good. And it was, what's crazy though, it was really good, but it was still only 3rd best this year. And he's had 2 number 1 recruiting classes, in previous years. This was his 2nd best of all time, and it's only ranked number 3 this year. So that's how good A&M's is, and even Alabama's is.
I just think it also shows just how top heavy this. I just don't know why. It just feels like this specific recruiting class, and I'm just talking, among all recruits in the country, it just feels so overpowered right now. Where I look at the quarterbacks that are in there, like, Walker Howard going to LSU, Connor Weigman going to Texas A&M, Cade Klubnik going to Clemson to an extent. And honestly, I'll even throw in Quinn Ewers because let's be honest, he was supposed to be a 2022 class. Just graduated early, just got the extra experience at Ohio State. This just feels like such a top-heavy recruiting class where I think even though A&M had the best on paper and then they had the best in recruiting class, I think any team in the top 5 could easily emerge as a true number 1 within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. So.
Ah, crap, Ryan.
But there you go. Do it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna get this fixed. How does that sound?
You want the brutally honest answer, or do you want me to sugarcoat it?
I'm just gonna go ahead and.
Oh wait, hold on. No. Go back.
What?
It sounds good now.
It's unplugged.
Oh, well then just do the rest of the podcast this way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. But I don't like the way it sounds because it sounds like it's not clear sound. Whatever.
Do you care about how it sounds for you? Do you care about how it sounds for our audience? Who do you care more about, yourself or the audience?
Fair. Well, I mean, I would like it to be sound very, which is what the whole purpose why I got a mic in the first place.
That's true.
Anyway, so what I was gonna say was, in 2020, like we talked about, Georgia had the number 1 recruiting class, and their cumulative score was 313.16, right? This year, the 22 class, if they had a 313 class, they would be ranked number 4. Texas A&M has a 330.61 cumulative recruiting score. Alabama 322.29 and Georgia 316.91. So like I said, yeah, like Andrew said, it's very top heavy. I mean, there's a lot of talent, very, very top heavy talent out there that went to A&M, Alabama, Georgia. But Texas A&M has 7 5-stars and 19 4-stars. That is ridiculous. Alabama has 4 5-stars and 18 4-stars, and then Georgia has 5 5-stars and 15 4-stars. So very top heavy, talent among the top 4 or 5, and Texas is still there at number 5. Ohio State there at number 4. So, you have your typical suspects, so, and one thing I want to mention though, because we haven't really talked about it, Clemson is number 11. And, during the peak Clemson era with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, from 2016 to 2019, they were top 2 or 3 almost every year. And now they're number 11th. So I don't know what that says about Clemson, if they're washed up, or are they done? Are they not going to be Clemson as they used to be?
Well,
that kind of concerns me a little bit. I mean, not as a Clemson fan, that would concern me a little bit. But yeah, I don't know.
I will say this. I wonder what their rank would be if you took out Cade Klubnik, who is actually the number 1 rated pocket passer in the country right now. And I think if you go off 24/7, I think he's like a top 10 player right now as it stands, something along those lines. If you took out a top 10 player out of that Clemson class, where would they drop to? Like maybe like a 15 or so, maybe even a potentially lower than that. And I would not be surprised, Clemson's going into next season with a new coordinator. I don't know if a jury is out on Dabo Swinney right now. I mean, I know a lot of people would like to think that way. I don't think it's truly that severe. But in terms of right now, with what's the case in Clemson, Cade Klubnik, state champion, Westlake High School. I don't think he's going to be in Clemson in 2 to 3 years. I'm just saying that wholeheartedly, just because I don't know if I have much confidence with where this Clemson class is going. I don't know where I trust the Clemson future. Dabo lost 2 assistants that have been loyal to him for a real long time. Why are they leaving Clemson now? And why didn't they leave right after they won, the championship in 2016 or 2018 it was? Why now? Why is it all of a sudden now that Clemson had a down year, even though they still finished 10-3 or something like that? And they're all of a sudden leaving now. Like, this was the least impressive Clemson offense I've seen in a real time, and he still got a head coaching gig. Mark Venables, Clemson's defense was still really good this year, and he got the Oklahoma job. And DJ Uiagalelei, Dabo was so high on him when he was coming out of high school. And he's still going to have 2 years of eligibility. Well, he's not going to the NFL draft this season, but I don't see him benching DJ, even if he has another season like he did this after he did this last season. So I think Cade's out. And if you take Cade out, how good is this Clemson class really is?
Yeah. It's not very good.
For Clemson standards, it's not very good. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, an 11 ranked class is great for any other program, but a team like Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, an 11th ranked class is not good. There's something wrong there. And I think, to your point, I think they see the writing is on the wall. Maybe the ship is sinking, and those coaches just they decided to jump ship as soon as they noticed that it wasn't smooth sailing anymore, which it happens. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, North Carolina, what North Carolina's been doing, they're ranked number 10, I think.
They were 6-6 this season.
Yeah, and they're ranked. They have a better ranking than
that's a Mac Brown.
We saw what Wake Forest has done the last couple of years with Sam Hartman. They went to the ACC championship game. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting what happens to Clemson moving forward. So my last point on recruiting that I want to make too is I know there's a lot of high expectation, maybe with A&M or any of these programs, and I wouldn't judge this class now. I would judge this class 3 or 4 years from now. And for example, with Georgia, they won the championship this year. Their first number 1 recruiting class was in 2018, so which would be who were seniors this last year. So that just goes to show the progression that it takes a class. Unless you're Alabama, who I think there was a stat that every recruiting class since 2009 has won a championship at Alabama. So which is ridiculous. But it's going to be very interesting. Actually, no, I would even go before that. I think that because there were seniors in that 2019, there were a class of 2007. Every class since then has won a championship. So yeah, I would give them time. I think we need to. Texas A&M is going to be very, very good, but I don't want to say that they're going to win a champion. They're going to win a national championship, in a year or two. I think the window was 4 years, and if it doesn't happen in 4 years, and then there are going to be a lot of discussions to be made at that point.
I mean, then again, we can't have that. While yes, I do agree, we can't have those discussions for a set amount of time. Also, for those 3 to 4 years, also, because let's just go ahead. Let's just be. I just think anybody who calls out Jimbo Fisher this next season, saying some stupid things such as you had the number 1 classes last year or this past spring. Why the hell are you not winning now? Well, first of all, morons, it's your true freshman class that you're talking about right here. That's the one thing. They went 8-4 this last season. That seems a disappointment. But did we forget that they won an Orange Bowl the season before? And, they could have, maybe should have made the playoff over Notre Dame that season also. Let's not act like the Jimbo's not winning. Okay, I think the trend is actually going up for Jimbo, even with this 8-4 season. You also got to look at the quarterback options he's had this last season. I mean, when you got to try out Zach Calzada, thank God he's gone to Auburn now. But just having him at quarterback alone should already signify the fact that they struggled. And if you go to the beginning of last season, they were still trying to fit in 4 brand new offensive linemen into what they lost from the previous season. They're gonna now look, even with Kenyon Green going to the NFL draft this upcoming spring, there's still going to be a lot of those faces coming back for A&M. So, guys, just give it time. They still got loads of good talent right now. They're going to have an absolute loaded quarterback room next year once you add on Haynes King, who was a top 5 player at dual threat a couple years ago. You're going to get Max Johnson brought in from LSU. Well, just come on, guys. Let's not draw up conclusions in freaking February.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely a victim of that. In a good way, though. That's why I have to remind myself that these are freshmen. These are young guys. It's gonna take time. I know I say Texas is back, but I mean, like they're freshmen. It takes even a lot of unproven talent. We talked about it with USC as well. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Are you still going to say Texas back if they go 6-6 and play and only play in the Texas Bowl?
We're not going 6-6, so I'm not even worried about that. We starting out.
Y'all got 5-7 instead.
Nah, we're gonna start at least 4.
You're gonna beat Alabama.
We are. We got them.
You gonna go to that game?
I actually want to go to that game.
Oh,
Of course, I have to.
it's gonna be a pricey ticket to get into.
I'll figure it out. I got time.
Yeah,
Watch them beat Alabama but lose to UTSA.
That's something Texas would do. Texas is known for playing to the level of their opponents. You know, I'm pretty sure we gave LSU when they ran through everybody their best game.
You know what you really got to do though. Highly doubt you'll do it, but just something to consider. And I might as well say this with Brian here. UH opens the season next season at UTSA.
Oh,
They do?
They do.
That's a revenge game.
Yeah, from 2013.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to that.
I am going to that. I will go to that.
It's in Houston?
San Antonio.
Oh, they're playing. Oh, okay. Hell yeah. I'm down.
Adam, you might have to do what I did.
And we're going to storm the field when UTSA wins.
No, UT plays Alabama week 2.
Oh, week 2. Then yeah, go to both games then. I mean, I know they're both long drives from Dallas, but you might as well go to both.
I can, yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I can meet y'all up there.
Fucking hell. Are we just gonna go ahead and just plan this now? I mean, it's early February. We still got 7 months to go.
The preview show, UH versus UTSA. To end it off.
Okay, let's do it. But we're sitting next to the UH band, that's for sure. Brian, don't sound that.
It doesn't matter. This crowd's gonna be wild anyway, so we can say you wouldn't even hear the band. He's gonna hear the womp womp once, and he's gonna think we're a cult.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
womp is pretty elite. I've been to a lot of college stadiums.
The womp womp is so good. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do. Whenever if the entire UH crowd gets into it, it's awesome. It really is.
You go to LSU and they play neck though. That's next level.
I do have one question before we get out of here. So I was thinking to myself this, and I was like, how much does this championship hold water for the next couple of years? Like how long does it how much is this championship worth? So if Georgia doesn't win a championship for, how they went 41 years without winning a championship, right? How much do you hold on to a championship where it's like, it's okay. Like we won a championship, right? So how long for y'all? Like if Texas wins a natty this year or if Wisconsin wins a natty, how long does that hold water or hold weight until you're like, okay, yeah, like, all right, we need another one?
For me personally, I'd probably be set for life, to be honest with you. And the reason why I say that is because Wisconsin's not. I mean, it pains me to somewhat say this, but Wisconsin's a team that's not supposed to make the playoff. They're not supposed to. They're legitimately not supposed to win national championships, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a way of Wisconsin never recruits at the level that Ohio State or Michigan does. They can beat Michigan, I'd say 50% of the time whenever they play each other. That's kind of been the theme of the last couple of years. Ohio State's always been the monkey. That's the thing. The monkey on the back is the biggest thing that's important right now. And that's the way I view it for Georgia's perspective. For Georgia's perspective, you got the monkey off your back that you finally beat Nick Saban, that you finally beat Alabama. And it's one of those feelings that, in my honest opinion, you may have a different thought on this, but if you do it once, you should be like, fuck it, I did it once. It's like, I should be happy with that. You know what I mean? And I view it that, and I would personally view it that with Wisconsin's perspective also. If it's a situation of, was this supposed to happen? If that makes sense. Quite frankly, Georgia gets smacked in the SEC title game and faces the same team in the national championship game. They're not supposed to win that one. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of just where it goes from there. You also got to look at circumstances that happen. I don't really think they matter too much, but if Wisconsin won the Natty, I would legitimately could probably see 6-6 rest of my life. But all I'm going to truly remember is just the one time that's happened.
Yeah.
I think for me, Texas. I still remember when Texas won the Rose Bowl. I have a Vince Young jersey in my closet right now. It holds weight for a while. It still holds weight for me, but you start losing it when you're so close to winning it again, and then you lose. Then it just kind of just like, okay, it trickles down for me.
It almost feels like a tease.
Yes, a tease. I like Texas.
It's like getting it with your girlfriend once, and then she puts you on a dry spell. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, are we going to win it this year? And then, I remember in 2011, Colt McCoy should have beat Alabama. He gets hurt in the national championship game. We lose. The whole Michael Crabtree thing when we didn't get in because he made that ridiculous play. It holds weight, but when you get so close and then you start sucking after, it's like, okay, I'm done with this.
I will say this
Start
in
winning.
terms of Wisconsin's aspects of like not winning a Natty. 2011 is the first season that I truly think about because we went 10-2 that season, but we lost to Ohio State and Michigan State that season off of Hail Mary plays. And they were on back-to-back weeks. This was among the last years of the BCS era. And here's what really gets me. If Wisconsin does not give up those two Hail Marys, they'd be playing LSU in that national title game, not Alabama, who'd go on to win that. That's one thing. 2017, I believe it was, we go undefeated the whole season, 12-0. We lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, but it's fourth down play. I don't really want to blame a PI, but a PI didn't get called, and we play in the Orange Bowl. But that's still among the biggest wins in program history, and even winning that Orange Bowl was still a massive, massive deal because they were projected to go 6-6 that season. And 2 years ago, before we played Oregon in the Rose Bowl, I heard, we blew like a 2-touchdown lead to Ohio State at halftime and the Big Ten title game. I heard whispers that even though we lost to Illinois earlier that season, if they would have beaten Ohio State, they would have been selected for the playoff. And when I heard that, I was like, why did you have to pull that lead?
Yeah, I think it's different. Andrew, I think it's kind of like with your Packers. Y'all won in 2010, and then it's just, embarrassment.
That's the definition of a tease right there. That's
that's what I see. But at the same time, I feel like, Brian, I think you're a Spurs fan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Andrew,
I'm a Spurs fan too.
Of course, just making sure you're still with us.
Of course.
So yeah, but like with the Spurs, when they won in 2014,
yeah,
great, right? But they haven't really teased me since then. So it's kind of like
2015-16, that was when we broke the record for best home court record in a regular season. That was
it was in 2016. We were 40-1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that was when Kawhi got hurt, right?
Exactly. Fucking Zaza.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, that completely ruined the space-time continuum.
Exactly. But like I'm still fine from that. It's just when I get teased is when it's like, okay.
Well, it's not just the 2014. It was like you could also say the fact that you were part of a dynasty back then too.
Exactly.
And when you have that dynasty, no one could ever take it away from you. Like, okay, let's go on the flip side of the coin. Let's compare it to other things. If Patriots fans are obviously pissed off at Tom Brady because he didn't mention him directly in those 8 Instagram slides. But if a Patriots fan that lived through all those dynasty years, if they never witnessed another Super Bowl victory, they probably won't care because they witnessed this. They witnessed one of the greatest storylines of all time.
Yeah. Last point here. I know we're kind of getting a little off topic here. That's my bad. I wanted to ask that question, but last point here. I was talking to an Alabama fan the other night. I ran into him, on the street. He was wearing his Alabama hat and whatever, and I was kind of talking to him a little bit because I was wearing my Georgia shirt. And I asked him, like honestly, like, do these losses even hurt anymore? Because you win so many. And he's like, obviously you want to win, but like, honestly, no. Like, it really doesn't. It doesn't hurt as much. And knowing that Georgia hadn't won one in 41 years, like I wasn't mad losing to Georgia. Like, I was glad. I was happy to see them win. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, like we'll give you one. But he's like, I know we'll be back next year. I know we have, Bryce Young and everything. Like, I'm not worried about it. He's, we'll be back next year anyway. So, like, damn, like I want to be like that. Like, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's a good guy because I know my rival team, they can never win a game, and I wouldn't lose any sleep. They never win a game ever.
Yeah.
No, I will say this. My girlfriend's father is actually an A&M grad. Really nice guy. I actually get along with him, surprisingly. She told me that after the game was over, that he did not want to talk to anybody. Like, and when I mean anybody, she told me that he didn't even want to look at his own wife. I'm like, come on, man.
After what game?
After this national title game, like
But
after
he's an A&M guy.
No, Alabama guy.
Oh, Alabama.
I might have accidentally, but no, he's an Alabama grad. Yeah, I think I did say it, but yeah, he's an Alabama grad, and after they lost to Georgia in the title game, my girlfriend just told me, like, my mom told me that he wouldn't even look at her after the game. And like I was even nice enough to be like, listen, he knows that I view things from a neutral point of view. As a psychologist, you're supposed to give things from a neutral point of view. And then she told me, like, yeah, don't do that because he did not want to hear a neutral point of view. He wanted to be told like everything was going to be okay and all that. But I think the biggest thing why I think Alabama fans would be okay with this specific loss compared to other ones is the fact that it's Kirby Smart. And Kirby Smart's he was an Alabama coordinator for a really long time. So at least an Alabama fan can look at Kirby and be like, he's technically one of our own, from the Saban tree. I also find it absolutely hilarious that Saban has never lost to any assistant prior to this season, but all of a sudden he lost to two of them, and they were his only two losses, both Jimbo and Kirby. That honestly feels like dark poetry, to be honest.
Once it happens, it's like it's at that point it doesn't matter anymore. Like that narrative is killed.
So yeah, it really is. I mean, so now that it's happened twice in one season, does any assistant that leaves Saban's staff,
Steve Sarkisian, go ahead and say it.
Sure. Any former Alabama assistant that was coached under Saban, whenever they take a head coaching gig, do they automatically feel like they're in a secure spot? Excuse me. Maybe not necessarily secure, but they can finally go into it thinking themselves, okay, we ain't got to worry about this no more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely, yeah.
You cannot put this tag on us. Like, no, we do not have to watch this in any media speculation anymore. It's done, dusted, over. We're never listening to it again.
It bleeds. It bleeds now. You can beat them.
Shout out Jimbo. You were absolutely mediocre this season, but you have broken a curse that will stand for the test of time.
Shout out him.
We're gonna need it week 2, so good job, Jimbo.
All right, guys, this was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. Good conversations. Great football talk. But
great microphone mishaps.
Yeah.
Great.
Sorry, my roommate's bad at 2K. I'll talk to him.
You can't take yourself too seriously. Then you won't have any fun. But this was fun.
All right, y'all. If y'all stuck through this entire buffoonery, if you stuck through this blooper, if you stuck through everything, just thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe if you're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, again, whatever you're at. Feel free to drop a comment, and we'll see you guys next time.